Hey guys, I'm here this week with the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is the 2.4 all-wheel drive Ultimate. It has 185 horsepower, an 8-speed automatic transmission, 178 pound-feet of torque thereabouts. It's taken some design language from the Hyundai Kona, upsized it a little bit to fit this larger crossover, and I think it looks okay. No complaints there. One nice feature is if you stand here for long enough, the rear liftgate will open. Pretty cool. Works pretty well, works pretty consistently. We have a nice, large rear cargo area and even some little areas underneath to store things. These rear seats fold down very easily. Just a press of a button. You have your Infinity sound system subwoofer in the back here too. Later on we'll be doing a sound test and you guys can hear that sound system. It's a pretty nice unit. So looking in the back seats here, we have a pretty spacious area. If you lock these seats in place, you do have to pull this lever to lift them up again. Something you get used to. There's a lot of adjustability for the backrest, so you can have it more vertical, laid back, whatever your rear passengers prefer. These seats can also move forward and backward. Pretty nice to have this much adjustability. One con that I've noticed this week from the adjustability of these seats is that you do get some rattles, some creaking over bumps. Pretty typical though with a setup like this. You have some nice amenities in the back here. Little sunshade. 2-stage heated seats. You have a 115 volt AC outlet to plug in devices and a couple USB ports to charge your phone or tablet. I think this is a pretty attractive interior. We have about 12 shades of brown and gray, some bronze, orange contrast stitching, and this massive panoramic sunroof. I even like this headliner. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Hyundai Ioniq that came out with this Eco headliner a couple years ago. It's a nice gray, nice material. Let's get this thing started up and take you for a little bit of a tour inside here at the driver's seat. So I love the way this new Santa Fe is laid out. Like all Hyundais, it's pretty friendly ergonomically. A lot of the buttons fall to hand very easily. All of your climate controls are kind of grouped in this general area. You have heated steering wheel, heated seats, cooled seats. Auto climate control does a great job, doesn't blow too much air. The temperature seems about accurate to what the reading shows you. You have two nice cup holders here. You can select your drive mode, turn on and off the parking sensors, and your auto stop start. Parking brake, auto hold, downhill descent for when you're off-roading your Santa Fe, and when you're in drive at low speed, you can even have different views with the various cameras in the front and the back. Nice feature. Steering wheel controls are really well laid out. I love this cruise control. We'll get into that a little bit later on the highway. You have a lot of information here in the center display. Tire pressure, H-track all-wheel drive, power distribution, heads-up display options, and of course all of your trip info. Pretty cool. And then to the left, you have your lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, traction control. You can pop the trunk, adjust your gauge illumination. All good things. Pretty well laid out, pretty nicely appointed cabin. For $37,000, this feels about right. There's not a lot of plastics. All your touch points feel pretty good, and I think it's reasonably attractive. The infotainment, typical Hyundai, nice, attractive screen layout, really sharp display. Could be a little bit more responsive, but everything is really easy to navigate and go through. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that good stuff. There's a little bit of lag, but that's okay. For some reason my sound test music keeps wanting to play. We're going to do that later. We're going to test this Infinity sound system and give you guys a taste of what it sounds like. It's pretty nice. Okay, so let's hit the road. Let's see what this thing's like to drive. I've put a few hundred miles on this week, and I will say it's quite a nice daily driver. There's a little bit of a appliance feel to this Hyundai Santa Fe, but it's a very good appliance. So I'll give it some top marks for comfort, for ride quality. Even the power from this lower trim 2.4 liter is decent. It can get out of its own way. You're not going to be winning any drag races, but it does do a pretty good job putting its power down, even considering this is an all-wheel drive system and a 4,000 pound plus crossover. You do have a couple of drive modes to select. Honestly, I've just been driving this all week in smart mode that'll kind of select the drive mode depending on your driving style and conditions. The ride quality is great. The handling is about what you'd expect from a modern crossover. There's a decent amount of grip. It's pretty confidence-inspiring around the corners. And the H-Track all-wheel drive does a nice job putting power to the rear wheels when you need it. I think for the most part it pretty much remains front-wheel drive. Fuel economy is decent considering it's about 21 miles to the gallon in the city, 27, 28 on the highway, and around 23 miles to the gallon combined, which is about pretty much in line with what I've been averaging this week. It takes regular fuel, so you're not going to be splurging for premium. The Santa Fe is really nice and quiet on the highway. Very little wind noise, no tire noise. I have great visibility here. Blind spot monitoring tells me when cars are coming up in my blind spot. And I love this radar guided cruise control. It's very easy to use. You can adjust your following distance. This is a system that you can use without taking your eyes off the road. And I love that. I find myself engaging and disengaging this all the time, even on city streets and back roads. Your lane keep assist does work quite well too. It keeps you between the lines. It doesn't quite negotiate corners as well as you would expect, but it does a nice job for when you need to kind of take your eyes off the road for a second and fiddle with something here. Considering how soft and plush this ride is, there's a decent amount of mechanical grip. These seats keep you pretty well bolstered around the corners, and they are quite comfortable as well. I will say this 2.4 is nice and responsive from a start, and it has adequate power. There's really no complaints with the drivetrain. This 8-speed transmission does a really nice job smoothing out downshifts, upshifts. It's a very good smooth unit. This engine does feel a little bit stressed at higher RPMs, but for the most part, unless if you're doing your POV test drive with the Topher, you're not gonna be driving your Santa Fe like this. I really only have 2 complaints about this car after driving it for the last week. One is the rattles, the creaks, the shakes from the back seats. And 2, there's a little bit of cabin intrusion, a little bit of noise over bumps. Really, it's kind of only the larger potholes or expansion joints, but there's just a little bit more transmission from the chassis, tires, suspension than I would like. It's not terrible, but just something that I've noticed. Otherwise, though, this is a very quiet driving experience. There's really not much wind noise. Tires are quiet. Rides pretty well. There's kind of a softness and a lightness to the way the Santa Fe drives down the road, and that's reflected in a lot of the inputs. The steering's light. The brake pedal's kind of soft and light. We've got the engine off now for stop-start. I'll disengage now. pretty much starts up immediately. Virtually no lag. Let's do a little bit of a sound test here. So let's go to Apple CarPlay, find our track. Pretty nice bass and definition at low volume. Anyway, pretty nice sound system. You guys get the idea there. I don't think I'm going to be doing a POV night drive on the Santa Fe. I did do a POV sunset drive though on the Winding Road channel, so if you want to see what this is like to drive in low light, head over there and check that out. We will dip into this parking structure though for a minute, just so you guys can see the blue illumination in the dark. Looks pretty cool. Other than that, you know, how can I sum up the Santa Fe? I would say, you know, this is a nice daily driver. No real major complaints, just a couple rattles in the back, which may be fixed with some adjustment in the back seats. Really, that's about it. I think even the power from this 2.4 is ample for what this thing is, and it's really comfortable on the road. It rides very nicely. A little bit noisy over bumps, but we have some pretty bad roads here in Michigan, and no vehicle is perfect. Definitely isn't fun or inspiring to drive the Santa Fe, but for a daily driver, you kind of can't go wrong. There's a lot that this offers, and doesn't really leave you wanting for features and tech, and it all works together pretty seamlessly. So, pretty high marks for the Santa Fe. It's been a good week in this car, and I've enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments, but I think that's going to wrap it up. Thanks again for watching. We will see you guys in another video. Little look at the key fob. Has a rubberized coating, nice weight to it. Cool. We'll see you guys later. Take care.